to a couple of groups who are middle school. So we're going to start with Jordan Azevedo, Rachel Cowman, and Una Coe, who worked at Sierra Vista K-8 in Vacaville.
So my name is Rachel Cowan.
I'm Jordan Azevedo.
I'm Una Coe. And like you said, we this quarter we developed a lesson plan to be used at Sierra Vista K-8. This lesson plan was designed for an 8th grade English classroom. We actually visited 3 of these classrooms. And we worked with Danielle Gagliardi, a former UC Davis student and a Play the Knave participant. So before we went in, we did a little bit of research on the demographics of the area. What we noted was there were 79 students in the 8th grade classroom, 65 of which we actually worked with. So we did a majority of the school actually. And over half of them tested below standards in ELA and literature the year before. So we knew we were going in with kind of a varied student ability. And so we decided to create a lesson plan that was easily modified and adapted for different skill levels and comprehension levels. So the lesson plan that we chose, we first started with a research question. And we asked, does the interaction between movement and speech affect how Shakespeare is understood? So to reach that question, we created a lesson that we'd like to call Dubbing Shakespeare. And the way this lesson worked was that we would have one voice actor and one body actor for every character in a scene. This kind of encouraged students to work cooperatively together to produce a cohesive scene. And with the 3 different classes, we had slightly different instructions given to each of them to see if it would affect their performances, but overall it was the same end goals. And we decided to go with this type of lesson plan because we thought it would engage the students in both the action and language of Shakespeare, which we hoped would get us closer to that research question. It encourages more creativity since we're asking them to focus only on one aspect rather than the entire performance. And it asks them how language and movement might interact. So before the lesson plan, we introduced them to Play the Knave in the platform so they would have an idea about how it works. So the actual lesson plan we did, we based it off of a scene from A Midsummer Night's Dream in which Titania and Nick Bottom are falling in love for the first time. We assigned them to groups of 4 to either be a voice actor or a body actor for each character in the scene. And we gave them worksheets to fill out, asking them questions to prompt analytical thinking about the performances both through the body and the language. And we also had them fill out the same survey that the previous group used at the end to assess how well we might have done. So like I said, we have 3 different methods for the 3 different classes. The first one, we're divided into groups of 2 and allowed to just pick their roles, whether they wanted to be voice actors or body actors, and if they wanted to be Titania or Nick Bottom. And both body actors and voice actors worked together in a group of 4 to collaborate on this before they performed. In the second class, we had the groups separated by voice and by body actors, and we did not have them come together until the very end when they started to perform. And we assigned them their roles so that they didn't just pick whatever they wanted to do. We wanted to see if that affected their participation. And then in the third class, we led them in a collaborative discussion before the performances to see if this would engage them more and think about the questions before they performed. And then again, they were assigned their roles for voice or body actors and for the 2 characters. We were trying to get out a few different Common Core standards, which are listed here, but essentially we were going for reading and the speaking and listening parts of Common Core because we thought that was the most applicable to Play the Knave and this lesson plan. And even though we did not grade this assignment, we did create a rubric in case teachers wanted to turn it into a graded assignment later on. We focused on 4 main areas for performances: the overall focus of it, the supporting detail, organization, and the fluency. So, the results. We, like I said, conducted surveys. We focused on mainly 6 questions that we felt related most to our research question. From here, you can see the graph far left, far left is strongly disagree and far right is strongly agree. So majority of our students felt that the people they watched moved their body a lot. Slightly less than a majority felt that the movements communicated effectively. And then, again, slightly less than a majority said that the exercise helped them understand or appreciate Shakespeare more. So this tells us that they saw a lot of movement, but they weren't quite sure what it was doing or what purpose was before. And then these questions, a big majority felt that it made them think more about how actors might move their bodies in scenes, which is a big part of what we were trying to get at, so that was really great. They also felt that it helped them pay more attention to the language in the scene, which is another big thing we were focusing on, is the interaction between movement and language. And slightly less than a majority thought that it helped them think differently about the themes of the play, which is of course important for any Shakespeare unit. Here are just a couple of highlights that we felt were good to note from the surveys. They had a portion where they could write in what they felt they wanted to say. So for a question we asked is, how did this exercise make you think differently about the play whose scene you performed or about the scene itself? Two of our favorite responses were, I think I liked it a lot more than if I read it because I actually got to interact with the play. And it made me think a bit differently with the scene. It made it more realistic, which are both wonderful things. And then we also asked if there's anything else they wanted to add, and a student wrote, I would totally prefer this than reading any day. Not that I don't like reading, but. So here are just a few photos from our performances. So the student was attempting to make a heart motion while trying to express love in the scene. Here is a really common thing we saw in all the students, where Titania is sleeping at the beginning of the play, so they all immediately started laying down on the floor. Almost every group did this, it was great. Here you can see the physical actors interacting with the avatars on screen, and in the very background you can see the voice actors reading off the screen itself. And then, yeah, this is just another photo showing how every student was watching each performance as it went, and we did actually give every group a chance to present, which was great, because we had like an hour and a half. So it was a lot better than we thought we were going to get. So to conclude, we felt that a majority of the students thought that the learning and experiencing Shakespeare play through an interactive video game was more engaging compared to the reading, which is something we always love to play the Knave. And they did report that the exercise made them focus on the movement, language, and themes of the play, so that did get to part of our goal. We felt that having students only perform as the voice or the body acting wasn't as inclusive as it could have been. You could fix this by having them do 2 days and switching it up, or there's a variety of ways. There could have been some more structure during the activities. We noticed a lack of involvement by a few of the students, particularly in the beginning portion with the worksheet that we were hoping would prompt them to make some important choices. But so a little more structure there would be beneficial. And the data collection and survey questions would need to be enforced a little more. We did get some really good responses, but we also got some no answers, so of course. So overall, we felt that the lesson plan was successful at facilitating learning in the students, but a little more planning and a little bit of tweaking, I feel like could be even better. And that is it.
And so now we have a second group that worked in the middle school. So Mary Quinn and Natalie Hill, who worked at Douglas Middle School in Woodland.
We do have a video recording going up on the internet.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mary Chan.
My name is Natalie.
And we're both part of the planning internship. And instead of focusing on creating a lesson plan for our students, we instead decided that we wanted to focus more on the research of whether or not the name is educational for the students in the first place, and whether actually performing and using and playing the game allows them for a greater comprehension of the text and the script versus just watching and thinking.
So our research question was, who will comprehend Shakespeare's plays better, performers or watchers? And just to reiterate what Mary was saying, we'd have a couple of students go up and be performers and act out a scene using the Play the Knave platform, and then we'd have the rest of the class watch, and after each round we would have them fill out an assessment sheet. To just give you an idea of what those roles mean.
So where our research took place was at Douglas Middle School in Woodland, California. And it was specifically in the class of Miss Julie Yeager in her 7th grade English classes. There were 3 different classes with a total of 67 participants and 14 different performers.
And for method, since we mainly use the data that we got from our assessment sheets, we decided to put the questions that we asked our students on our slide. So for the big one that says Figure 1 assessment questions, both watchers and performers filled out these questions or answers to these questions. And then performers in particular for Figure 2 would answer the 2 extra questions at the end. And we used 3 scenes from the Play the Knave platform: Lend Me Thy Sword from Henry IV, My Dad the Ghost from Hamlet, and then we also used Monsters and Men from The Tempest. And we had students again perform in pairs, have them fill out their assessment sheet, and then perform in pairs again, and so on and so forth.
So after we collected those quizzes that we gave them, we had a grading rubric to make sure that we could fairly grade each of their quizzes to test for their comprehension level. So we had different points for different extent of comprehension on the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 0. And then there was 4 different questions that both the performers as well as the observers got, so that we could compare them.
Okay, and so it did show that performers did comprehend better than watchers by a small margin. You can see that the most common score out of 11 was 3 for both performers and watchers. The median and mean score also show a trend of performers performing about almost like 1 point average higher than the watchers.
We were also curious because we gave them several scenes in each class with different performers about whether the performers themselves had higher scores when they performed the scene themselves versus on the quizzes they did on the scene that they didn't actually perform. So this is what we got as a result. So their performing score is in blue, and then this average scoring of the other 2 scenes is in the red. And in general, as you can see, most of the performers actually did score higher on the quizzes that they took for the scenes that they actually performed versus the ones that they watched. Although there are a few students who did do better on watching the scenes, we think that's because students just learn differently and are better at comprehending in different ways.
Okay, and here are some pictures from our installation. And to touch on what Mary said, again, we do believe that even though it didn't show that performers dramatically improved with their comprehension from performing, it did show that some students are just better using kinesthetic learning than others. And so we do think that those students who might not have scored as well, performing is probably because they're more auditory learners or visual learners.
So our last takeaway is educational value. Besides all of that, the one thing that we did get as a very strong response is that the kids definitely had fun and were definitely very entertained, with 86.57% of the students answering that they either agree or strongly agree that they had fun playing and were watching the game. And here's some quotes that some of them gave us.
That's it. Thank you.